It ended with a sound that my logic simply cannot explain. Hello. If you found this video, nice to meet you. My name is Gabriel. I'm a software engineer, working with data and systems development. To be completely honest with you, I've always been an extremely logical man. Skeptical, focused only on things I can test and prove through lines of code. But I recorded this because I need to confess something. Have you ever had that feeling that your life is absolutely perfect on paper, but completely empty inside? You program your entire routine for maximum comfort, the best job, the best apartment, and then you discover that your greatest luxury is simply not having to deal with anyone. I thought I had absolute control over my world until that winter night. A night that started with perfect silence. It was one of those evenings where the sheer fatigue of social interactions makes staying home a true miracle. I was sitting right here in this armchair, comfortable clothes, a simple but flawless dinner, and a glass of excellent wine. I felt an absolute physical well-being, perfect harmony. I was happy, truly, even without any specific reason for it. My apartment is on the top floor, with a beautiful view of the city. I have a library that mixes the mind of an artist with a data scientist. Next to literary classics, you will find complex treatises on astronomy, quantum physics, and artificial intelligence. I am not an academic scientist, but it seemed shameful to ignore the technological breakthroughs of our century. I kept myself informed. If you speak to me about algorithms or cosmology, I can follow the logic. Back then, society considered me a good catch. Good income, investments, an admirable position. But I never wanted to marry. At events, when people tried to approach me, my responses were always deliberately uninteresting. Pure self-defense. I fled from social traps built around status and appearances. Whenever I felt too welcome in a house, I just stopped attending. Many thought I lived a life of secret, wild nights to avoid commitment. But it wasn't that at all. A simple matter of taste. I simply ignored love. The love described in dramas and romances. I easily consoled myself by thinking about the trouble passion usually brings. But society has this obsession with arranging our lives. In my circle, they decided all on their own that I was in love with Ian. She's a young influencer, recently widowed, 25 years old, with an immense fortune. The world married us by its own authority, deciding we were the perfect match for high society events. And she accepted it, already acting a bit like my official fiancé. To be honest, I was already finding her presence slightly tedious. That very night, I was supposed to go over to her place for wine, but after dinner, pure laziness took over. I looked outside, saw the chaotic traffic under the cold rain, and recoiled at the idea of getting dressed and leaving. I started inventing excuses to myself. The truth was, I wasn't the least bit in love. And that's when, just as I was drifting off to sleep, my phone vibrated on the table. A message from Anne. Immediate bad mood. She was demanding I keep my promise. I thought to myself, what pleasure is there in crossing the city in the rain when I have perfect wine right here? No, I wouldn't go. But a vague remnant of politeness made me hesitate. I looked at the closet, but a sudden despair hit me. I chose to stay. However, my conscience weighed heavily. I needed to send an apology message, fabricating a headache or a last-minute emergency. I despise writing fake courtesy texts. I'd rather program a complex line of code than invent social excuses. But the dread of looking like a complete savage forced my hand. I picked up my phone from the coffee table, opened the app, and entered the chat with Annie. I typed just the first word. Ian. I froze right there, my thumbs hovering over the glass screen, waiting for a convincing lie that simply wouldn't come. And during that exact moment of hesitation, something strange happened to my body. My fingers began to tingle against the glass screen. An involuntary impatience took over my hand, as if my thumbs were typing on their own at high speed, completely ignoring my brain. And what appeared written in that text bubble changed my life forever. To find out what actually appeared written on that glowing screen, you will need to watch the next episode. Subscribe now so you don't miss the revelation. I need you to see what happened next, to tell me if I'm losing my mind or if our world is far more complex than science can ever explain.